Hello, this is Purge, and I'm bringing you guys a Q&A video. I'm going to be doing this really quick. I hope you guys can read. It looks like it's relatively large in the video area, so that should be good. I'm doing Q&A video for comments and questions from my forums. So I'm going to leave this little banner at the top of the screen so you guys know where to go. It's purgegamers.com/forum. If you guys want to post there, a link down below in the drop-down box, and that is going to be with the link to the actual forum that I'm taking the questions from. If I scroll really fast through this little web browser, you guys can see things. That's probably not large enough. I'll just make it a little bit bigger so you can see. But here's the forums, and this is the thread. Give me your Q&A questions, and I'll make a video thread. So this is where I'm taking the questions from. But anyways, I just want to leave the banner at the top really quick. That way everything looks beautiful. So let me just scroll this back up again. And perfect. Okay, cool. So first questions that I'm going over. Purge, do you have any advice on dealing with teammates who don't seem to cooperate or listen to advice? For example, as recently in a game where the windrunner on my team had 0 points in Shackle, I tried to tell him that Shackle shot was really important, and so on. Not only did that said person ignore my advice, he or she also started to troll myself and other teammates with the force staff. Dealing with people like this is something that you'll just have to learn to do. I recently had a game, not 2 days ago, I believe, where I played with a Ricky Maru on my team, and what he did was we ended up having 2 carries. And I wanted to go play solo mid Rubik. I picked Rubik, and I went 3 Ironwood branches with the Tango with the obvious intention to go for a bottle. We ended up doing dual lanes, so I was going to play support, and I asked him, I told him, I said, I want to get 5 last hits, I'll get a bottle, and then you get everything else. And I wanted to do that just so that I could rune control, and I could harass, and I'd have lots of mana, and I could even go gank lanes, and generally just be a really solid support hero. Hypothetically speaking, if this is a very serious game, he would get all the last hits and I would not get bottle, but I don't know, I wanted to do it. I was like, I can rune control, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be really cool. Anyways, he wrote something like, stop last hitting or I'll AFK. And I kept last hitting because I wasn't paying attention. I was like, well, I barely even paid attention when he was reading because I was on Skype with somebody, and then bam, all of a sudden he just AFK'd for the rest of the game. And once somebody throws the game or intentionally tries to troll you or whatever, the best thing you can do is just ignore them and don't respond to them. Just play the game to the best of your ability and accept that the game is going to be a loss for you, but the benefits that you'll get out of it is that they're going to get banned. At the end of the game, if they've been trolling and not playing serious, and it's been very serious with them not playing, then all you have to do is report them and ask other people to report them, and they're going to probably get reported and banned. So don't worry about it too much, guys. Just accept that. Like, don't let it get to you personally. That stuff never bothers me. I know that's not going to be the same for everybody, but if somebody's intentionally throwing the game, that's so much different in my experience than somebody just not playing effectively. Somebody that's not playing effectively, I always find frustrating. If somebody throws on purpose, then it's completely out of your control. It's completely gone. It's like, okay, that ship has sailed. This guy is thrown. There's no chance of me winning. I might as well just try to have fun this game. That's kind of the way that I look at it. I'd recommend that mindset for you guys as well. Next question. I think you can answer this because you have more experience in pro Dota scene. For you, what strategy works well? Pushing strat, or late game strat, or an aggressive tri-lane strat? There's lots of strats in the game. I know I just mentioned a few, so if you have anything to add, you could always do it. If you guys are playing pub games, I don't know if this is a pub question or a competitive match question. If it's a pub game question, I recommend doing a late game strat. I think that is by far the most reliable. The best thing you can do if you're playing a pub game and you want success is to just have good lanes. You've got to have good lanes. If you have a hard carry with a good support and you have a solid mid and then you have a long lane solo and you have a jungler, that is perfect. That is what you guys should be trying to replicate. Watch pro games, look at their lanes, mostly try to duplicate their lanes. I don't think pushing strats are good for pubs, and by pubs I mean anywhere below the 80% skill mark. I don't think pushing strats are good. I don't really think tri-lanes are really that effective either, because people just don't know how to execute them correctly, and that could be a multitude of things. It could be like your support doesn't know how to make sure that their long lane solo stays out of EXP range. Your carry doesn't know how to keep the lane from not moving so that it doesn't push into EXP range. If you mess up all of these things, that's like multiple players making sure that they'd have to do their things perfectly. If they don't do that correctly, it doesn't allow you to do your strats effectively. Your basic strats. That includes pushing, that includes late game, that includes aggressive trialing. The reason pushing's not going to work is people are going to make a mistake and they're going to die, and then all of a sudden your push strat has failed. Like when you do a push strat, you get a lot of gold advantage, but you don't get much EXP. You actually get an EXP disadvantage usually. And that's really bad when the actual first team fight starts, because your opponents are going to have better skills than you. So if those little advantages are gone, and you misplay and you lose a team fight, you're like, well shit, we had a gold advantage that was temporary because we had towers, It's temporary gold advantage, assuming that they will eventually take your tower. So you'll have a temporary gold advantage. You'll lose the EXP advantage, even worse. And then, because they just won a team fight, they might take your tower back. And then all the gold advantage you just worked for is gone. So push strat really requires you to not make a mistake in the early to mid game. It really does require you to have like most of the towers down before you're allowed to make a mistake. You really need to not die. So you have to like push and take towers without engaging in a team fight, basically. So that's the best thing for push strat. I don't think pubs can engage in that. The few times where I've played push strats with my friends, they always fail because it's like expecting your allies to never make a mistake. So I think that is by far the less forgiving of the strategies. I think a late game strat is much more reliable. Do some solid lanes with a late game. Make sure that your carry can carry well, that your mid doesn't fail too hard, that all of your lanes are reasonably go okay, and that from there you just go to a late game strat and do typical Dota stuff. I think that's by far the best stuff to practice. If you guys are playing on a professional team, or you're trying an amateur team, that is, if you're playing on an amateur team and you want to perform those strats, go for it and try them out and see if they work, and then eventually get good at them, and maybe you can pull them out and beat your opponents with them. I think that is worth trying. All right, let's scroll down here. Purge, I would love nothing more than to be a professional caster. I love Dota 2, and I see you as my inspiration. Thank you. I know it's something I have the potential to accomplish. I'm thick-skinned. I'm also respectful. However, there's a major problem, a major road bump standing in the way. I have no support whatsoever from my family. They're a bit more old-school traditional. They want me to go to college, complete my major, and get some cookie-cutter job. They absolutely refuse to listen to my reasoning and are very adamant about shutting down my dream and calling stupid or an illusion. I'm 19, heading into my second year of college. I have a job, but every day where I'm at work or I'm studying, I just can't help but feel, why the hell am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here? This just isn't for me. And when I'm playing Dota or watching one of your vids, it just feels right. And I know deep down that this is what I want to do for a career. So getting into the question, what the hell do I do? All right. This question has kind of a complicated answer. The basics are continue to go into school. You're not in a position, if you're assuming you're 19, you have no other career paths or major ways to get into stuff. You cannot give up now, period. You have to go to college. I hate saying that, because college, I think, is generally a waste of money. But, and that's speaking from somebody who got a college degree. I think college is generally a waste of money, first of all, unless the career path you're going into requires a college degree. If you want to be a doctor, you obviously have to go to college. If you want to do, I don't know, be a lawyer, you have to go to college, etc. If you want to do something tech-based or trades-based, such as IT job, I don't think you have to go to college. Programming, you can self-teach yourself that. Most of it is self-teaching anyways. There are some job paths that do not require you to go to college, and some of them are generally better off in terms of money. Like, you'll save so much more money by just not going to college generally and self-teaching yourself, and that's extremely marketable as well. If you say, wow, look at this, I taught myself how to program. This is normally a 4-year degree, and I did this to myself within a year or two. Like, if you're motivated by yourself, it's much easier to just not go to college. That put aside. First of all, esports is extremely hard to get a paying job for it. I made my own job. I'm sure that some of you guys at least watched my other video. I made a video called How to Become an Esports Caster, I think, something like that. You can go Google search, and I'm sure that you'll find it, or look on YouTube. You can see it that way. It took a really long time before I got a single dollar out of it. So telling your parents that, I don't know how you approach this, but if I walked up to my parents when I was 19 and said, Mom and Dad, I want to drop out of college because I want to be an esports caster, they would have said the same damn thing to me. The secret is that you don't tell them about it, probably. You shouldn't have, at least, if you did. You can have dreams. You don't necessarily have to share them with your parents. I think your parents are probably not the best people to share that kind of a dream with, because they don't understand video games, most likely. They probably don't understand esports, and they don't think that it's realistic at all. And I don't know what you're like as a person. Maybe you've had things like this in the past where they've seen you have dreams and they've been kind of unreliable and maybe not the wisest thing ever. No offense, of course. But it's probably not just wise to share that with them. If you really do want to become part of esports, I think you need to at least continue college for now. You need to start your YouTube channel, or however which way you want to do it, immediately. You should do it in your spare time, throw content up. If you really want to make it your dream, you have to work at it. And it sucks to do it, but I started my channel when I was working 40 hours a week too. I'm pretty sure anybody can spend a little bit of time every night, maybe an hour a night, make commentary, get it rendered overnight, upload it before you go to school in the morning. You can do stuff like that. It's not too hard. It does take a lot of time, but it takes time to get there anyways. And once again, it took me 9 months to make a single dollar from esports, so you probably shouldn't just go all in on that unless you expect it. I mean, there was a point where I wasn't making money, where I went all in, and that was around May. No, was it May? It was more like, yeah, I guess it was about May. I got laid off, and then I got unemployed, and then I had like a 4 to 5 month period where the only revenue I made was babysitting because I started doing that to supplement myself. But that was all part of the plan. Like, I don't know. It's hard to. It's not something you can go from zero to dream with. If you want to work into it, you should probably just make it like something that you like doing. And if the option is there, go for it. You have to be realistic. You can't just drop out of college. That's like the over point that I haven't properly made until now. It has to be realistic. You have to be realistic about your dreams. You can't just be like, I want to be the next Britney Spears, unless you actually have potential. If your voice is good and you have the look and whatever, all that stuff. It's very important. So make sure that your goals are realistic. Pretty much in anything you do, whether or not you want to be a professional caster or something else like that. And there is still a void in professional casters. There's still less than probably 6 to 8 really good casters in the Dota 2 scene. So there's plenty of potential for people like you if you're still interested. Yes, not too many questions left over. There weren't very many questions in the thread, so make sure you guys go add to that because later I'll be able to give you some more info. But last 2 questions. Hey, I usually play my carry like Morphling. Play a carry like Morphling, but want to improve my gameplay and range, so I'm starting to try and play supports, and the fact that there are usually 4 other carries on my team also helped me come to this decision. I did not write these questions. I copy-pasted from the website. I was wondering how would you measure success? It's 2 questions, I believe. Yeah, there are a lot of carries usually, especially at lower skill levels. Playing support, I think, is a very good thing to do. If you guys want to be unique in your Dota playstyle, playing support is by all means not a bad thing. Because there's not very many people that play support, people are always going to want to play with dedicated support players. I can tell you that for a fact, because on average, not very many people want to play support. Similar to long lane. Really good long lane players and really good support players are both a minority. So, if you guys want to get really good at something that is rewarding in some ways, playing support is one way to do it. Now, the first thing that I think you have to get over if you really want to play a dedicated support role is you have to understand the game to the point where you have to make sure that you have to understand the game well enough where if you lose, like let's say for example, you play a really good support and you guys end up losing because your hard carry makes too many mistakes, you need to be able to realize it was my hard carry that messed up. Now, I'm not just saying this because I think generally blaming is a little too high generally, but it's important to know that you are playing your role correctly, because otherwise you're going to get too frustrated. If I played support, let's say I was at the 40% skill level, which is pretty... I'm sure your allies are idiots if you're at the 40% skill level on average. Like, you probably see a lot of really frustrating stuff. So if I was playing dedicated support and my hard carries built like Vlad's Rush on Faces Void, and then they got like, I don't know, some crappy item like, I don't know, Basher, which doesn't stack with passive, I would be really frustrated too. But at least you could focus and say, alright, I played my role correctly. I'm not going to get frustrated because my ally got a terrible item. He got a terrible item. It's not me that played badly. I played my role correctly. I gave him a lot of free farm. That's very important, I think, if you're playing a support role, because usually the hard carry or the solo mid roles have a lot more control over the game. So I think that it's very important that at the very least you can notice what your allies are doing wrong and not get too frustrated by playing a less than important snowball role as a support. If you get your wards up and you ping the map and whatever and you play a good support role, you can probably find people to play with and have a good time. Alright, that's not the question you answered or asked, but I wanted to answer that anyways. I'm just trying to advocate, guys. Play support more often. It's honestly, I think it's fun. I don't like playing support every game, but I do like playing support sometimes. It is very rewarding if you do a perfect job supporting your carry and you let your carry just decimate in the mid to late game. It's really fun, I think. Alright, anyways, how do you measure success? This is kind of a hard question to answer. Measuring success in Dota 2 is very difficult because you're constantly getting better. I feel like the last couple of weeks, I've recently moved to California. I've been hanging out with Blitz a lot, who's a very, very good Dota player at the professional scale, definitely top small percentage of the game. I've been learning a shitload about the game the last couple of weeks, and you're always getting better at the game. I've been playing for 4 years. I'm a moderately talented gamer as a whole throughout my life. I've always been slightly better at video games than other people, some of my friends, things like that. You're always getting better at Dota, almost always. I'm still not even able to compete at the pro level. Not even there yet. And I know for a fact that I'm at a very high percentage of matchmaking. And I'm still not there. It takes so long to get good at the game. The point is that it's probably not smart to look at how you measure how good you are. It's not worth it, honestly, because you're always not going to be at the top level. There's always room for growth. So there's no point walking around being like, haha, this one time I matched against that one pro player and I outlaned him. It's like, that's cool, but like, you're probably still not good enough. Like, you still have to get better. It's not like worth talking yourself up to get there. Like, coming, and the only reason I bring it up, I know it probably sounds really hypocritical coming from me that I just said, like, oh, I'm a really high skill gap and I'm still not good enough, but it's not really worth looking at measuring your success. You can look at your win ratios, you can look at your average kill deaths. The answer is you're probably still playing against bad people anyway, so even if you do go like 16, 3, and 4 as a hard carry, it's like your opponents probably sucked, and it's not good enough. You should just constantly be striving to get better at the game and look at it that way. Look at every game. Probably the best thing you could do is look at every single game you play and look at what things that you could have done better and keep that in mind. So every game that I play a certain hero and I try a different item build, it helps me learn more about the item builds and learn more about the hero. And then I look at the mistakes. Oh, I was too aggressive here. Oh, I threw away mid lane because I got too aggressive. Oh, I threw away mid lane again because I got too aggressive. Those are probably the most important successes and growths that you have to look at. You can't look at your overall graph on the scale because you can't look at that in Dota 2 unless you happen to know people that have inside information. Something like that. That's like the only way that you can look at your stats online, other than through Dota Buff. But Dota Buff doesn't make that stuff public. So there's basically no way that you can measure your success for the average person. So it's not worth trying. Just try to get better. That's it. Constantly try to get better. Try to flesh out your item builds. Try to like learn better strats from pros, maybe duplicate their item builds a little bit, be still a little open to variety and stuff like that, but as a whole, just try to get better and leave it at that. Don't look at, unfortunately there's no league system like there is in StarCraft 2, you just have to try to get better, stuff like that. Last pick, why do you and your friends always play, last question that is, why do you and your friends always play with in-game voice chat or writing with each other, why not use Skype? Number one, don't usually play with a 5 stack, so therefore if we're talking on Skype, the 5th guy who is a random is not going to be hearing anything that we communicate, which is going to be frustrating for him. Second of all, when I'm recording games or streaming, I don't usually like using Skype because I like to commentate about mistakes that I make or mistakes that my allies make, so if I'm on Skype with them and I harp on their mistakes, it's going to suck for them to constantly hear for the entire course of the game. The only reason I talk about those mistakes that my allies are making is because I want them, or I want you guys, the viewers, to understand the mistakes that are being made as a team. I think that's very important. So I don't want to like constantly be talking and have them hear it when it's not important information for them to hear. I want to make sure that my allies can still hear information that we're communicating in game, and largely because I don't want to hear them on the recordings. Like if, for example, if I want to make a point at a point in the game and my allies start talking about something else, it's like I don't want to hear them right there. I want to be talking so that you guys can hear it. So that's pretty much the primary reason. And that's it for the questions. That's my Q&A video. What is the date? I don't know. It's like October something. October 18th. I don't think I've made one of these in like a month and a half, but I forgot about it. If you guys want to go put questions in the thread, I'm going to post the link below in the question or in the drop-down box. God, my brain is not working right now. The thread that I pulled the questions from my website, it's purgegamers.com/forum. It's all in the drop-down box below. You guys can go watch that there and go to the link and add some questions if you guys have questions for me. Hopefully I don't start hitting duplicates. I read one that I was like, I'm pretty sure I've covered this before at least once, but that's all the questions. Thanks everybody for watching. That's a Q&A video. If you guys have questions, put it in the thread, and I think that's everything. I'll see you guys later. Bye.